Even though the Soviet Union has been gone for a while, a lot of information is either lost to time or is kept secret from the general public. It is evident, though, that certain information continued to surface even after it was over. The vast number of claims of UFO sightings in the area during that time is one of the oddest worries. Below are 7 fascinating accounts of UFO sightings in the Soviet Union. Let's see. 1. Soldiers turned to stone in Ukraine. In the Soviet era, one of the strangest cases we know of is this. There was an incident where several soldiers were supposedly turned to stone. The exact date on which it all happened is not known, but it is estimated that it took place between the late 70s and early 80s. A military unit was training in the open. As a preventive measure, a missile was launched against the ship and then it landed, and it was possible to observe 5 men with huge heads and black eyes coming out of its interior. They merged into an extremely luminous object, and then there was a small explosion that caused a huge glow. The soldiers who were there were petrified, 23 of them in all, and only 2 managed to escape the event. The petrified soldiers and some UFO remains were taken to a research facility in Moscow. 2. Reports by Oscar Link. It was only after the release of a CIA report entitled Flying Saucers in East Germany that Oscar Link's account became known. He was German but was under Soviet control. According to records, as he was returning home on his motorcycle, alongside his 11-year-old daughter Gabriella, he felt a kind of tug on the vehicle. He looked at the bike and saw that a tire had blown. Father and daughter were then forced to continue pushing the motorcycle. However, the girl noticed that something strange was moving in front of them. Oscar told his daughter to keep the bike while he took a closer look. When he got to about 40 meters away, he noticed humanoid figures dressed in metallic clothes. Behind them, there was a sort of giant frying pan and a huge black cone. When they became aware of their presence, they immediately ran to the ship and took off, never to be seen again. Weird? Yes or sure? Like, subscribe, and share this content with some friend. Help us to spread free, valuable knowledge. 3. Sightings in Yaroslavl. In the early 1930s, several strange apparitions were seen in Yaroslavl, a Russian province. However, residents believe that this had something to do with a vessel that sank nearby in 1928. From there, people began to report sightings of creatures with thin arms and legs on the shores of the lake where the accident occurred. Happened years ago. Some reports even mention that these creatures appeared in isolated villages in the region. According to ufologists who are still analyzing the site, many residents report interference in the signal of their radios and televisions. However, it is not possible to state the causes for this, nor even to say if the supposed alien event was related. 4. Tales from Death Valley. The Valley of Death in Siberia is surrounded by a series of mysteries. Among them, we can find some UFO sightings. Some people who would have ventured into research in this area become seriously ill a few days later, with some cases even being fatal. In 2013, for example, a team went to the site to investigate alleged cauldrons that could be traces of ancient alien technology. However, due to the onset of a sudden illness that appeared to be caused by radiation, they had to quickly leave the place. Legend has it that during antiquity, the site was the scene of a huge battle with fireballs being thrown at ships through the air. During the event, there would have been a big explosion that ended all the possibility of life there. Something that looks a lot like a nuclear explosion, which would explain the fact that people get sick shortly after coming into contact with the region. 5. Balkash Crash Lake Recovery. Records point out that during the year 1963, several people witnessed a flying saucer falling from the skies into Lake Balkash. Within a short time, a team would have gone to the site, collected all the wreckage and taken it to a secret base. At the time, the then leader of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, learned about what had happened and decided to pay a discreet visit to the base where the wreckage was deposited. That way, Soviet scientists could explain to him what would be needed for the analyses that would follow. 6. The Odessa Incident. Among so many UFO sightings in the Soviet Union, perhaps the most interesting is the one in Odessa, which took place in 1971. According to the story, a young woman named Masha was on her way to the city to tour its catacombs. While taking the walk, he heard the voice of a child crying desperately, and so he went looking for him. He ended up moving away from the group he was in, and after that, he disappeared for several days. Intense searches began to be made to find Masha. Days later, she ended up reappearing at the entrance of one of the catacombs. She was hospitalized and sent back to her hometown. Apparently everything was fine, but her parents noticed that she looked very different. She was more distant and reclusive, and the strangest thing was that they found out she was in the early stages of a pregnancy. The pregnancy was not interrupted and she raised the baby. However, the child was really different. He was much smarter than usual and didn't want to get involved in ordinary children's activities. I preferred books and more like that. Strangest of all, at a very young age, he showed an interest in visiting the same catacombs where his mother disappeared years ago. He went there and strangely disappeared. His body was never found again. 7. UFO over a lake. At dawn on September 20, 1977, workers in the city of Petrozavodsk saw an extremely blinding light coming from the direction of Lake Onega. They claimed that the object looked a lot like a spaceship and that as it approached, it looked like a shimmering jellyfish. According to reports, as the craft hovered, it looked like it was waiting to attack. After about 12 minutes at a standstill, she simply returned from where she had come at enormous speed. According to Soviet officials, the incident could have something to do with US technology in the Cold War. However, due to the large number of people who witnessed the event and the involvement of several ufologists, the theory was not well accepted. The Soviets then decided to continue their investigations as discreetly and secretly as possible. Please make the internet cleaner and full of good knowledge, share it with a friend and let us know what you think in the comments.